press, right, the new direction. We're still working under the same strategic planning of CAM-IV's council. So like, where's all this new direction? So I guess, I mean, I'm looking at this and I'm looking at why can't we, Mr. Mayor, why can't we say planning? You notice our planner seems to do a really good job where she gets 7:10, we've got a meeting of zoning such and such, and then 7:20 there's something else. Put a few things together. Instead of doing 10 minutes, which is ludicrous, especially when we're hearing from people that they want to talk to us at town hall meetings where they want to yada, 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 right? Why don't we make our meetings so they're more open to the public, right? Which means that maybe we think about the fact that you have 10 minutes for the public meeting, and then maybe you have 10 minutes of public discussion, then cut it off, and then we go into, right, the next planning meeting, right? We just listen to them, just like we listen to whatever, right? Just at a planning meeting. At a planning meeting, we do that.
No,
Do you know what I'm saying? You do your presentation, and then you allow the people, you do this in a planning meeting. Why can't we do that with other things? So for example, if you did planning on one Monday night, right? You did your 7:10, and the next one was 7:30, instead of pushing it. But maybe we would end up with these agendas with 640 items on them that we get pushed to make decisions at 10 o'clock at night, or oh gee, we got, you know, like, is that efficient and effective? It's not. So why couldn't we take one Monday and it's land use planning, and immediately after that it's strategic planning.
First Monday from 4 till 5 is planning.
Whatever it is. Yeah.
More like a Tuesday session, you got something you're going to spend an hour to deal with from 4 till 5, and then at the next one you're spending from the second meeting of the month, the Monday, you're spending from 4 till 5 strategic planning.
Let me finish. My real point isn't to do with the planning, because planning is obviously important, but it's the official plan. We haven't got the strategic plan. Those are all planning, right? But we also have the operational thing where we end up with, we'll just use Brent as an example right now. He's got 6 reports for us. Well, maybe the second Monday should be Brent's. It's Community Services Monday. And part of community services is that we know we're going to be dealing with these, gee whiz, and suddenly we've got 20 minutes, and if there's one of those issues that has certain, we'll say, political consequences, we have a chair. And if we have these people out in the audience and somebody wants to ask a question, and in that 10 minutes or 5 minutes we allow, which we don't right now, I understand. But just like we do at a planning meeting, a zoning meeting, do you ever, how many people stand up at a zoning meeting and have comment to that salient issue? Where we get comment is when we don't are allowed to talk to you. That's where we get comment. We're not allowed, well no, the way our system sits, we don't allow you to talk. You can talk at the end of the meeting. Well, if Bob here has something salient to say at 7:14 during a such and such session, I'd rather hear from him at 7:14 before I made a decision than 3 hours later. Him telling me, well, you bunch of goofballs, you see what? All I'm saying is we should expand our time and use it more effectively, and we don't have to have that if it's all planning, or if it's all community, or it's all treasury, or budget. All I'm thinking is using whether we need time. Carol needs to, but this time thing, you can expand the time and you can have 4 meetings a month. It's how you use the time as much as it's when we use the time. 3 of us are working. We have to book time off, right? 4. I'm sorry, Ken, I apologize. 4 of us are working.
The question here is, do we want to come back with a change and do 4 till 6 and 7 till 9? And I guess that.
I think we need to talk about that.
Well, we need to discuss more about that.
I agree with you. It's how we do.
Does that work for? Maybe we're past our time tonight, so let's think about that till next time. Do you want direction on that?
Yeah, you see where, I think where you're coming from, and I agree with you, is rather than having generic council meetings where we're bringing in the treasurer, we're bringing in the planner, we're bringing the director of community services, we may want to start allocating dedicated time. And the discussions do involve the public, and then you get to cut off the 10-minute mark and say, okay, that's enough of that or whatever, and we move on, so that you have now start having dedicated meetings to specific issues, and instead of trying to be all things to all people and sitting here till 11 o'clock at night. It's an interesting concept.
Deputy Mayor Dag?
Yeah, just from my perspective, it theoretically sounds good, but let's say, for example, the treasurer has that she wants to present, and
You can always
she
do
wouldn't
that.
be able to do. So then basically it all kind of gets mixed up again, right, until, and I don't know if anyone wants their report to wait another 2 weeks. They'd rather have it dealt with earlier rather than later, so having a mixture allows people to.
The salient issue isn't that. The salient issue is you're, okay, I don't know how you guys work, but what I hate about email is very simple, is you get these 50 things thrown at you from all over the place and they want an answer immediately. Well, I don't know how you guys think, but I usually think in part, I try to put my energy into. So we're saying when we're making decisions, if you're into planning mode, you're into planning mode. You're into Brent mode, you're into Brent mode. You know, whatever, we're into Janet mode, treasury, you're into that, and then you can just keep going along. If something comes up, that's for the mayor in terms of the agenda, but when staff feel that they have to put everything onto that Monday agenda, and that sucker gets this big, I see the pile that Marty has sometimes, and it's like, in paper, it's about this thick, right? And all this extra material, why? Why?
Don't try to,
Trouble is we only have 3 meetings a month. One's a Tuesday afternoon, so we're supposed to be able to do discussions. But if we got business of the day for the average resident, you say, sorry, you gotta wait for a month and a half until your night comes up. That's not gonna go over very well.
I didn't say that. I
Yes,
said
you
that.
did.
No, I
You're talking
didn't.
about designated nights for people, so.
Designated nights for planning.
For planning.
Planning, right? And whatever, it doesn't have to be designated in the sense, you
That's
you
what
might
the-
only have 2 hours and Brent's gonna have
That's
2
control.
hours. But that's what's in there in that agenda. We see it on Friday beforehand, right? They're not gonna change in terms of the timing. Why I was using zoning as the example, remember this, guys. Zoning and things like a drainage, right? As soon as those applications come to the clerk, right, they have to be dealt with, and they have to be dealt with by legislative authority. In other words, it comes on the desk, so within so many days, certain things must happen. We get more criticism because we don't do things in a timely sense for all those other issues that don't have that legislative authority. And they also include that we don't have public input into them. So all I'm saying is we could be a little bit more disciplined in what comes on our agenda, and it wouldn't go to that point. Carol and Bill are continually making the agenda. You guys probably figure out sort of kind of how, oh, we can do that much?
Just do it all.
He's a
we usually do it
bureaucratist.
all. Very seldom takes anything out of the agenda, but
Yeah.
But if something isn't pressing and it's a full agenda, we will say that
We do
report
it
can
every
come at the
Tuesday,
next
it seems,
meeting.
though. Every Tuesday we do it. Don't we? Yeah, how come we can do it every Tuesday?
Anything.
Do whatever Tuesday.
Oh, strategic planning.
Okay.
You do it every Tuesday, we go, oh.
Always good to call.
Would you like some options brought back for you to consider, just a little bit?
Well, I can tell you, as a 61-year-old, if you think I'm gonna sit here for 6 hours and be sharp by 9 o'clock at night and make decisions,
2.5 for you.
even Geritol won't help me with that. So I sit here by 9 o'clock and I'm thinking, oh man, my best before date is starting to approach. I mean, I think you have to look at, these are business meetings, and we have to conduct business. So if that means we do it smarter, 7.4, streamlined agendas, similar, I think what John's talking about, I think it's smart, is it's almost using council as a committee, like a planning committee, or a land use committee, or a recreational committee. I think it's something we have to look at. I think we have to get smarter on how we do business, because I think
We've gone through some of the last agendas because the recommendations are in there. Not like the consent agendas, but we have gone through the report. Everybody's been prepared, and we can go through the agendas if the reports are.
you're suggesting that because you avoid 7 councilors, what's happening.
I'm not suggesting anything, I don't need a point of personal privilege. We did have some very good meetings. I just want to speak to John's point, if I may, about having a meeting and then if 10 minutes that it's open for a public discussion. And I think we have to be very careful. Our agendas are online Fridays. Any member of the public can get a question to any member of council before the meeting, to open the meetings up. I think we want to be out of here by 9 if we start adding 10 minutes of open public discussion. I think it would be a lot of,
Copy camera.
No, it wouldn't work.
No, it's not that much worse.
This is where we
I can't control the 9, there's something.